In this video, you are going to see a recording of one of the latest live classes that I have hosted. We talked through a bunch of different topics, including how the current landscape and actual marketplace is shifting with WAP, etc., etc. We talked about the developments with AI. We also specifically talked about how you can actually get better at client acquisition, how you can partner with the right brands, charge heavy revenue shares, and make 10K plus per client. Even if you sign your first one, you can do that within the next 30 to 60 days. And I also show proof and examples of exactly how people did it and also how I myself did that as well. It's about 1.5 hours long, incredibly valuable, and I would recommend you watch through the entire thing because it's going to change around everything for you. So enjoy, find the value, take notes, listen closely, and I'll see you in the next video.
Welcome to the Brand Partner Masterclass. It's been about 2.5 months since we've done the last one. So I'm very, very excited to be able to host this one again. And we prepared a ton of value for you guys. So make sure to stick around until the end. I'm very, very excited for it. I don't know if you can tell. What I want to go through today is how you can be a smart agency owner and a smart business owner and skip selling commoditized 2K a month offers. All of these shit offers that either way don't really work anymore because the market is essentially immune to them. I want to go over how you can go around that and scale past 50K a month as a brand partner, as I did myself and my clients did as well. And it's specifically how I scaled my own agency from 0 to 60K a month within 7 weeks, and how you can get paid 5K to 15K per month from one client within 30 to 60 days doing this. That is that. Here we go. I think the presentation always has a slight delay, but I think we should be good. Let's see. There we go. Awesome. I want every single one of you to make this class well worth it for you. Okay. And for you, appreciate that, Marcus. For you to be able to make this class well worth it, make sure you have a notepad, a pen and paper in place, ready for notes. Make sure you close all your tabs, notifications, outside distractions, etc., etc. Write all of your questions down. I will answer all of those in the Q&A section at the end. And for everybody that stays until the end, I will not only be able to send you the recording and tell you how you can get it at the end, but also reveal to you how you can implement what I'm about to share with the highest chance of actually scaling past 50K per month this year. I have something very, very, very exciting to share at the end of this. So make sure to stick around for that. Please don't be this guy, because I used to be this guy. I used to be the type of person that used to do 10 different fucking things at a time. And it just doesn't make any sense. I used to scroll reels and then kind of watch YouTube and then kind of eat and kind of take notes. Like, make sure you're focused. When you're focused, you can learn the most in the least time, hence make the most amount of money with the least effort. And that's what all of you need to do. Of us to work 16 hours a day to make a little 3-4K a month, because it won't change much. Now, these are a couple of problems that I was personally facing before I broke that ceiling in my own agency, right? I was stuck with low paying clients, paying 1K to 3K per month. My clients were leaving after 3 months. It was hard to sign high ticket clients. I appreciate it, Karim. Prospects aren't necessarily or weren't necessarily responding to my DMs, my cold emails, my looms, etc., etc. It was pretty hard to charge above 5K per month. It was hard to sell my actual service on the call. And I was just working on multiple things at the same time. And it just didn't really make much sense. It wasn't necessarily scalable. It wasn't wildly profitable. And it just took a lot of time to actually build up. And so it wasn't a nice business to run. Usually, I also had different clients on different deliverables. So one client I would do emails for, one client I would do consulting with, one client I would do whatever for. Like, it was different offers, different clients, different price points, and it just didn't make much sense whatsoever. Now, what I usually used to do back then, every time I actually acquired a client, I started focusing on the delivery, which also didn't make much sense because I stopped my marketing, didn't get sales anymore, didn't get closings, didn't make money. Right. And so that was a fundamental problem as well. And then after that, I didn't necessarily attract people who can pay the price that I actually wanted to charge. You can see there's a little spelling mistake right there. Apologies for that. Who here is experiencing these problems? Because I personally was facing all of them and I was just stuck. I felt like the world was against me and business was hard and making money was hard. And I don't know, it was a really, really shit spot and place to be in, to be honest with you. But I was able to overcome all of those problems. If you're experiencing any of these problems, then this class is for you. I made and created this entire life class concept because I fundamentally struggled with all of these things and I struggled with them big time. And the only way in which I was able to make a change was what I'm about to present to you. And so we're going to dive into all of that today. After today's live class, which by the way, just for your notes, is going to take about 2 hours. After today's live class, you will know exactly how you can effectively position yourself as an expert in a $480 billion industry, which is the creator economy, to attract high quality clients. How you can escape from the commoditized pricing model and command 5K to 10K a month deals without getting any bullshit objections on sales calls. It's also going to tell you and give you exactly the insights that you need to sign and retain dream clients without sending hundreds of outbound messages every day and getting 0 replies. And in addition to that, I'm going to show you how you can go from 10K a month to 50K a month in the shortest time period by building a micro personal brand for yourself to attract more high quality clients. And yes, this is live. This is not recorded. On the last live class that I hosted, there was some guy saying, "This is not live, guys." I was like, bro, what is wrong with you? Everything I do is always live because I like to interact with everybody attending the live classes. And I want to make sure that you get answers to every single one of your questions. Okay. Now, I want to talk about who this is for and who should stay on this class and who should leave. And the best way to do that is to show you who it's not for. It's not for you if you're not interested in scaling past 50K a month and building a fulfilled business that can support you and your family for life. I know this sounds very weird because who wouldn't want that? But trust me, there are people that want to make 10K, 20K a month, just sit down, chill, and have a nice life. And that's obviously perfectly fine. That's their choice. Anybody can live their life however they want to. But this will be specifically dedicated for you if you're looking to make more money, specifically scale past 50K a month. This class also wouldn't be for you if you're not willing to take action and actually implement the insights that I'm going to share in today's class. It's also not for you if you're afraid of making changes in your agency and would rather stick to strategies that you know best, that you've done before and you feel comfortable with. Because the things I'm about to share aren't necessarily comfortable, but this comfort is what makes you grow. Also, it's not for you if you're not willing to adopt new belief shifts to break past your revenue level. We are going to dive into a lot of detail about different topics and different insights and strategies. But at the end of the day, you will only get the value and actually change everything around for you if you're able to change your beliefs. And I can promise you this because I've seen it with myself. Before I was willing and able to make a change in myself and my own behavior, nothing really happened. And so this is fundamental. And it's also not for you if you're waiting on the right moment and validation from other people to take action. You fundamentally need to understand that to make a change in your life and make a change in your business, you need to adopt new beliefs. And at the same time, you need to not listen to what other people are saying. Stay in your lane, be focused, and do your thing. That's very important. If that's not you, you've passed. So that's that. Now, we're going to dive into the topics of today's class. Today, we're going to cover a variety of different things. The first one is the problem with the current commoditized agency landscape and why you cannot get above 50K per month in revenue. We're also going to talk about the $480 billion industry that is turning agency owners into literal millionaires. And trust me, I don't necessarily like these cheesy titles, et cetera, saying, oh, you're going to become a millionaire if you just do this. And obviously, you're not going to become a millionaire from zero within 6 months. It's very unlikely that that happens, but this is what's working best in the market right now. And I know it because I'm doing it myself and I'm doing it with my clients. as well. We're also going to cover the model that allowed me and my clients to sign 20K to 30K clients and scale past $1 million in ARR, which is annual recurring revenue, within 7 weeks. That was my second business that I ever built. We're also going to talk about the 3 levers in client acquisition that are responsible for hitting 1 million per year with my agency. And we're gonna go over my favorite topic, actually. This is gonna be insane, so stick around for that. We're gonna go over the exact social funnel that got me high-level clients without sending a mass amount of DMs or making endless educational videos. Every single one of you guys is here today because you have seen pieces and parts of my social funnel. And I'm very good at engineering and optimizing my entire funnel organically in ways where people just convert like this. Most of the clients that I work with pay in the DMs or in text after we've had a call. Most of the people I work with pay in full. Most of the people I work with immediately understand the value of what I have to offer even before jumping on sales calls. And so it's very powerful, to say the least. And then we're also going to dive into the exact steps that I would take today to close my first 10K per month client without having prior case studies or name association. So how you can actually build this from the ground up. One thing I want to emphasize on here is that a lot of people in the industry like to brag about certain numbers, like scaling a client from 10K to 20K or 20K to 50K. But the thing is, what a lot of people don't understand is that scaling from someone from 20K, 30K to 50K or 60K is very easy because that person is already in a situation where they are competent, they know what they're doing, they have resources, money to actually spend on ads, et cetera, et cetera. It's very easy to double that person's revenue. It can be very hard to get someone's business off the ground because the first client that you're ever going to sign, if you're still at zero, is by far the hardest one, by far. And so because of that, I will show you exactly how to do it because my clients on average do this within 4 to 6 weeks. First big client from zero. And that's not an easy thing to do. I'll show you exactly how you can do that without prior case studies, without name association. And by the way, you will see some proof of everything I'm saying later on as well. Why should you even listen to anything that I'm actually saying here? I want to dive into my story quickly. I know some of you are familiar with my story and what I've done so far, but for the ones that aren't, we're going to run through this quickly so you kind of understand where I came from. For the ones that are kind of familiar with my story and where I came from, this is going to help you a lot because it's going to help you see and understand where I came from and how I got here. And you'll see the transformation, which will help you find a lot of inspiration, trust me. So essentially, this is about how I went from a broke 18-year-old kid, not knowing what to do with my life, to building 2 $1 million a year agencies. That's run rate in less than 2 years. Now, there are a couple of parts of my story. I actually, for this specific live class, decided to pull up some old pictures of mine to kind of show you my story and walk you through that. So on the top left, you can see me at, I don't even know what age I am, maybe like, is that like 7 years old, 8 years old? And this is kind of where I started. I was born and raised in a very normal middle class family in Germany. And I never really had anything to worry about financially. Up until the age of like 11 or 12, we were all good. When I was at the ages of 11, 12, et cetera, which you can see on the second picture, my parents split up, which obviously, happens. A lot of parents split up nowadays. But the thing was, because of that, my mom struggled financially. We always had a roof over our head. We always had food on the table, but I just felt the financial pressure from a young age. And so because of that, I feel like that kind of intrinsically led to me having this drive that I have nowadays to go ahead, go out there and make things happen. And so that was where I started. I then, as a teenager, I lived comfortably. I didn't really do much, to be honest with you. The main thing I was doing as a teenager was playing video games. I was playing, I don't know, Fortnite. I was playing Clash of Clans when I was younger. I was playing a lot of League of Legends, et cetera, et cetera. I was just very addicted to video games. I was playing time. There were times where I was playing like 10 hours a day, right? And that was kind of what I did throughout school. I was very lazy. I didn't really have much drive. I didn't really know what to do with my life, and I didn't really, not anymore, bro. I didn't really do much. I was just existing, but not really doing something. And you can see me there in school as well. I was very average in school. I had very average grades. I was never the smartest one. I was never the worst one. I was just the average kid in a first world country, as you could say. The next picture, me in the suit, you can see me. This is when I was 18 years old and I actually graduated from school. Now, my original plan after the school graduation was because I like and I always liked traveling, was to actually go ahead and do work and travel for like a year. I don't know, go to Australia or something like that, the classic thing. But it didn't necessarily work out for two reasons. The first one, it was COVID 2021. So it was pretty tough to actually do work and travel, especially when you were younger. And in addition to that, I was lazy. I didn't really organize anything. You can kind of see where I'm going here. Like I didn't really do much, right? I was just existing. And that was, yes, that was actually one of my main champions. Um, that was kind of the point in time where things started changing for me because in that year 2021 I was 18 years old, about to turn 19 years old, didn't really know what to do because I wanted to work and travel but I couldn't. What then happened was I got introduced to cryptocurrency by a close friend of mine. So I was trading NFTs for quite a while, and I made like $20,000 profit in like 2 weeks, like a month in or 2 months in, which was pretty nice. But then I, at the same time, also lost the money again. I reinvested it. And that was a really good learning because it kind of pushed me into this direction of starting to try and make my own money. So throughout the summer, and this was 2022, summer 2022, throughout the summer, I tried to do a bunch of different things. I had two minimum wage jobs. I was working as a lifeguard by the pool, and you know, I was just doing my thing. But whilst I was doing that, I was listening to a lot of podcasts and audiobooks. I listened to, I don't know, Atomic Habits. I listened to Robert Kiyosaki's audiobooks and these types of things, you know. And then, funny enough, and a lot of you in here will be able to resonate with this, I'm sure. I found this one guy online. His name was Iman Ghazi, and I started watching his videos. And that was about 3.5 years ago now. I started watching his videos. He back then had like 100K subs. And I was like, this guy makes so much money. He runs an agency. I want to do that as well. And so I watched his content for like 2 months, 3 months. Then, as everyone, bought his course, which back then was called Agency Navigator. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. That was now 2 years and 9 months ago. So in September 2022, I bought that course. I got into it, and it took me about 3 months to sign my first client. My first client was a $600 upfront client. My second client, then thereafter, which was like a couple weeks after, 1.5K. Third client, $300. And guys, back then, and this is something I really want you to understand, back then, I didn't know a single thing about what the fuck I was doing. Like, I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had no clue. And what I mean by that is, I literally just sent 50 messages per day on Facebook. I tried to get on calls with people. I was so shit at sales calls. And my first ever client, it took me 5 calls to close that guy on paying me $600 because I was so bad at sales calls. All the information that I'm giving to you guys here today will already be able to propel you to get that client and a lot bigger clients within a couple of weeks. And that's why this is so valuable. This is what I would have loved to have when I was starting out. Okay. And so, for that simple reason, listen in, because this is going to be super, super fucking valuable. On the bottom right, you can now see me laughing a lot. This was actually last week in Belgrade. I was at an event with about 40 entrepreneurs, met a lot of very inspirational guys, a lot of people there doing really, really good, like multi six figures a month in profit. One guy doing $30 million a year, et cetera, et cetera. So like successful guys, right? And this is the type of life that I'm living now. And this is kind of how I got here. The biggest turning point for me was in 2023. So I had my first agency, right? That real estate agency that I was speaking about, where I signed those clients $600, 1.5K, $300. Took me a couple months to get there, right? I back then met two guys, which then became my business partners. And we scaled a real estate consulting firm from zero to $60,000 a month in cash profit within 7 weeks. Okay. And back then, to me, that was crazy. That was like my whole entire belief system changed because I all of a sudden saw a Stripe account with $60K coming in every 4 weeks. And that wasn't normal to me. At that time, I was in uni. I was working, actually, funny enough, I had a consulting job at a consulting company that was doing about 18 million a year. And I quit my job and I quit uni 3 months in to pursue this business full time. And that's exactly what I did. And so we scaled that business. We made money throughout the year. My partner bought a Lamborghini. And the thing was, the business was very optimized for lifestyle. And I didn't necessarily see much money from it, right? Because I was in a bad agreement and I didn't have the confidence to demand what I was worth back then. But it was an amazing experience and I'm grateful for it. I, towards the end of the year, then got out of that business. It didn't really make much sense for me to be in there anymore. I didn't really see a lot of future in that for a multitude of reasons, but that was kind of the turning point. And I want every single one of you to understand, and this is so key. It is not hard to make a lot of money. If you are able to adjust the way you are, so your identity properly, B, you get the right guidance from someone that has done what you want to do, and you get to know exactly what you have to do step by step to reach your goal. And then C, if you apply and learn everything that I'm talking about here, that's why you should have a notepad, take notes, and actually go through this with me. So this is kind of my story and the turning point that I've had in that so far. As I spoke about, this is an actual screenshot of the Stripe account. This is July 2023. You can see 40,000 pounds. That is cash. That is just one of our actual payment processes. You can Google this. 40K pounds is like $55K roughly. And we also had bank wires, et cetera, et cetera. So you get my point. That was essentially that turning point for me. And it shifted the way I saw business and then everything around it completely. And I want to share all insights that I got from that and everything I learned from it today in this live class. Okay. I scaled my agency after that to 10.5K within 3 weeks. And then I also scaled my fourth agency to about $1 million a year in run rate within 6 months. And that was with my previous business partner. So I have had a couple of different businesses so far, 3 of which have scaled past 10K a month in cash collected within less than 1.5 weeks. And I know that we have a couple of guys in here that are below 10K. And if that's you, let me specifically address you quickly, okay? How can I scale past 10K within 2 weeks average in 3 different companies, and you've tried so hard for weeks, months, and maybe even years, and you still don't have it, and you're still not there? It's clearly because you're lacking knowledge and clarity on what to do. And that's exactly what we're going to go through today. Okay, so stick around for that. Sorry, wrong laptop. There we go. Amazing. This is today. I wanted to put in a couple of cool pictures there to make myself look cool. Top left, you can see me golf. I'm everybody that can golf here. I'm really shit at it. I just started. Please don't make fun of me. But this is a picture of me golfing. And you can see a couple others, right? You can see me with friends in Belgrade. You can see me driving cars, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, bro. I mean, that's currently my reality. Now, in complete honesty with all of you, all of the results that I've achieved came from spotting where the market is headed and positioning myself the right way at the right time. That's exactly why I decided to not spend another day, very important, not spend another day selling commoditized 2K a month retainers. Okay. I learned how to position myself. And this is probably one of the most fundamental core things that we're going to go over today. It's how you can position yourself the right way to attract the right people and sign the right deals. Because making money isn't complicated, but you gotta know how the game works. And most people just don't. Okay. Not only did I manage to change my own life, but I helped more than 250 agency owners achieve the results they dreamed about. And that's in the last like 1.5 years roughly. Okay. Since I started working with people on this. Now I have a couple of people to talk about here that I'm currently working with or have worked with in the past that are a very, very good representation of what we're going to go through here today. First of all, we have Tim and Andre. They were doing about 10K a month when they joined. We're currently building out their actual social funnel to attract A+ clients. With them, this is going to work incredibly well because they have an e-commerce offer. So they run an e-commerce agency and you can attract high quality clients in that space, even clients that pay 6 figures plus per month if you're able to do it right. We have a V-roll. I helped a V-roll go from 1.5K per month to more than 20K a month within 2 months. When I met Aviro, he was stuck at about 1.5K a month, and that's in profit. He was doing about 4K in revenue, and he was stuck there for nearly 2 years. 2 years selling commoditized agency services. He then positioned himself the right way. I told him, bro, you're targeting the wrong people. Your positioning isn't set right. You need to position yourself differently. He positioned himself as a brand partner and he closed a $120,000 client. And this is not BS. Aviral is from India, and he essentially signed the biggest Buddhist guru in all of India that's talking about Buddhism and that type of stuff. He signed him on a 2-week marketing campaign that he did for him for an event launch. So 2 weeks, and he got paid $120,000 on that. I think his margins were like 40-50%. Okay. That's cash, by the way, not contractual. And it took him 2 months to scale to 20K a month in cash profit consistently every single month, month on month. And Aviral, at this point in time, he was 19 years old, as far as I have that top of him. Now we have Joe and Joseph. I was working with them before as well. They went from 0 to 10.3K per month. Again, I'm only speaking cash collected. I'm not talking contractual value or this type of stuff because it really doesn't matter. They started from complete zero, not knowing how to actually command high ticket prices. They closed their first 6K a month client within 6 days, then closed a 9.8 client shortly after. And it took them like a week to scale past 10.3K per month. We also have Noah. Noah became a client of me actually pretty early in my career of working with people on these things. And he literally started from complete zero. When Noah came to me, he had no clients. He didn't necessarily have a business. He was working full time as someone that was installing solar panels on people's roofs for minimum wage. And he didn't really know what to do at that point. He came on board. He scaled to 12K per month, again, cash collected, or like 11.5 within 4 weeks. Then he didn't like the business anymore. He stopped it. He went back to zero and then started partnering with the right people and hit 20K a month 20 weeks after. You can see a screenshot on the left of him texting me that. Then we have Mr. Koi. I started working with Koi very, very recently. You're going to see that case study dropping in 1 to 2 months. Koi was actually doing 10 to 20K a month as a closer. He then made the switch to becoming a brand partner, and we're now building out his profile funnel to scale past 100K a month because he saw the opportunity and decided to go for it. We have Mr. Dre. Very, very, very interesting guy as well. He's with us today as well, as far as I know, and we're probably going to bring him on stage later on to speak quickly. This is the wrong notes. Sorry for that. Andre came to me about 5 weeks ago. So we started working together about 5 weeks ago. He didn't really have clients. Andre literally tried to sign clients. And Andre, obviously, if you hear this, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think you tried to sign clients for like literally a year. You were running your agency and your business for like a year or like half a year before that. Correct. Yeah. And you couldn't sign clients. And then a couple of weeks ago, we started working together. We switched your model, we switched your positioning, and you signed a client for 10K upfront, so 10K paid in full, plus 2K a month, plus $250 per appointment. Now, the crazy thing about that is that this client alone, including potential referrals, actually, let's exclude it, excluding potential referrals. When Andre implements the actual system he's implementing for him right now, this client is going to bring him in about 20 to 30K. That's dollars. Andre lives in Australia. So that's, what is that? Like 40, 50, 60K Australian dollars. The maximum amount of money that Andre made per year ever before this was 50 to 60K. So he literally made, without including referrals, the amount of money he made in a year from one deal. And that's how powerful this is. We also have, for example, Mr. Jacob. Jacob, I think he's here with us today as well, funny enough. He literally sent this in the chat about 2.5 hours ago. Okay. Jacob came on board about 6-7-ish weeks to me as well. And again, Jacob, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, but you were trying to sign clients and you were running your business for like a year as well. You had one client that you signed that churned, and that client was low ticket. Now, when we got on board, you were a bit skeptical. You had paid for a lot of people to work with before, et cetera, and it never really amounted to anything. You still decided to take the leap of faith. You went into it. And now, literally today, 2.5 hours ago, you closed a 6K PIF deal plus 10% revenue share. So I feel like just running through a couple of these things already shows the power of everything we're going to talk about today. Obviously, you've seen this case study before. This is one of my biggest case studies. Alex, he went from 0 to 700K a month within 9 months. So he first had a real estate marketing agency, which he scaled from 0 to 50K a month cash profit within 3 months. He then positioned himself as a brand partner in the following 9 months, and he scaled to 700K a month in the info product industry. He charges about 200 to 250K per client. We actually had him on one of the live events like a couple of months ago as well, and he's currently doing 7 figures a month. So yeah, that is that. I think that's enough proof. I don't want to run through all of that because it's going to take us actually like ages to go through all of this. But yeah, why am I actually showing all of this to you in the first place? I'm showing this to you for 2 reasons. First one, to show you that I've actually done what I'm talking about. I've helped more than 250 plus agency owners and founders get similar results. And I want you to see the pattern amongst the ones who end up scaling to 50K and 100K per month. Now, most agency owners are thinkers, you could say. They never necessarily break past 30K a month in order to start experiencing the freedom and fulfillment of running a business. Even if you're making like 10K a month, 15K a month, 20K a month, et cetera, you don't necessarily have freedom because you constantly reinvest in the business to make more. Your margins are okay, but you have expenses for your clients, et cetera. True freedom is usually experienced when you get above 30 or 40K. They also never really adopt the strategies that are actually the right ones. They usually run with old strategies that they learned from some random ass guru in 2022. They don't capitalize on market trends in order to run laps around the competition. And they also never focus on highly leveraged, revenue driven, and even profit driven, in this case, actions. Okay. They have the wrong focus. They stick to old strategies. And they just never get to experience what it's actually like running a fulfilling business. That now brings me to our first topic of today's live class, which is the problem with the current commoditized agency model and why you can't scale past 30K per month. Selling traditional agency offers to the current market in 2025 is literally like selling newspapers to people at Starbucks. There is a big gap between what you offer and what that offer can solve for a business and what businesses want as a result. Okay. There are thousands of agency owners just like you who read $100 million offers by Hormozy and decided to sell the exact same offer to the same demographic of people. Everything we're talking about today, and let me really drill this point home, everything we are talking about today here works because it's not fully adopted. These things work because the only people doing it are the people that I'm actively working with and myself. And so because of that, it's very easy to sign clients with it. When the market adopts to this and when people catch up, it's going to be hard. And that's how markets work. You got to position yourself at the right place at the right time. Okay. Also, you're not really incentivized based on the results you generate for clients because the client you work with won't be able to generate enough revenue to pay you 5K to 10K per month. The people you're working with are usually broke. And that's not good. Okay. The reason for that is very simple. The market that you're currently serving is immune to working with agencies selling commoditized offers. They've heard your offer hundreds of times per week. They have more options to choose from than they know what to do with. And it makes you lose leverage. Leverage means the difference between what you put in and what you get out. Now, if everybody is selling the same offer and you're doing the same thing, how is there any leverage involved in that? They've heard it hundreds of times before. And there are only two things keeping you from scaling here. But when you combine those and you just don't understand these concepts, you end up stuck below 20K per month for years. And I specifically say years here because, trust me, I've literally spoken to more than 2,000 agency owners in this industry. And I can promise you about 99.9% of them never even sign a client. I'm not even talking about 10K a month, 20K a month, et cetera, et cetera. I'm literally only talking about just signing a client. Most people cannot even do that. Okay. And that's because they run commoditized offers and they run it towards a sophisticated market, meaning it's literally hard on both sides. You're trying to sell something that everyone knows to someone that is extremely educated on what that is about. That's like the worst thing you can do. The more sophisticated the market is, and the easier it is for them to find a solution to their problems, the more commoditized your offer gets, and the less leverage you have in your pricing and in the way you sign agreements with people. Now, how do you actually know if your offer is commoditized? If you can't charge at least 10K without getting massive levels of rejection, it is commoditized. It is also commoditized if clients want to do some of the parts themselves, right? It's also commoditized if clients are already working with a service provider like yourself. If you've ever experienced this before, you're on a call and you're talking to someone and they're already actively working with an agency, right? Clients also decide to bring in an in-house team or an in-person team rather than hiring you as an agency. Prospects refuse to get on sales calls or leave you on scene the moment they hear your offer. I know that a lot of you in here, and I know we have a lot of people in the call right now, so I know this will apply to a lot of you. I know a lot of you right now are in a situation where you have your lead list, you're reaching out to people constantly, and you're trying to follow up with them every single day, and they ignore you again and again and again and again. Now, the thing is, I can promise you, there is no magic wand to this problem. For the recording, everybody that stays until the end is going to get the recording plus the clients. It's very, very important to understand, okay? Now, in simple terms, to round this off, you don't feel like people are excited to learn about what you offer. Fundamentally speaking, you want to make your offer and your service so good that people would buy it without you having to sell. And then you put sales on top, and that's how you make a lot of money. The problem is pretty much every single one of you here doesn't have this, okay? This graph explains why this happens. So the market adaptation to working with traditional marketing agencies took place usually, you could say, in between 2016 to today. So that's around about like whatever, 8-9 years, right? Back then in 2016, you had every single person getting onto the actual agency train and trend, because back then it was working incredibly effective. Okay. Early agency owners signed most of the clients back then. It was very easy to sign like 3K a month, 4K a month, 5K a month deals, literally just for running ads. You didn't even have to present yourself well or show much proof about the fact that what you're doing actually works, because the market wasn't sophisticated. They didn't fucking know what Facebook ads was and how it worked. And because of that, it was very easy to sign clients with it. Okay. Now, the market, the yellow part of it, you can see the market now adopted. You are here where it's not effective anymore. Okay. The majority of people in 2020, 2021 started hiring internal teams. The majority of people that got into the agency game got into it in 2020 and 2021. Who got into it? Bro, I got into it during that time as well. 2022 is when I got into it. Okay. That was like the height of it. That was the peak. And then decline. And I know that this is true because you feel it when you talk to prospects, when you do outreach, when you try to sign clients. I know that you feel that something is not right. Okay. And so this is the growth curve that we've seen. Now, why would you ever on this earth position yourself like someone was positioned 8 years ago before the market adapted? It's the stupidest thing you could do. And that's why you're not growing. It's because the strategies and systems you're implementing is what worked years ago. And for that reason, it doesn't work today anymore because many people did it. Now it's commoditized. Now it's saturated. Now everyone is doing it and it doesn't work anymore. The most amount of money in the shortest period of time can always be made when you're able to position yourself at the intersection of attention shifting. What does that mean? That means that when attention shifts from one side of the economy to the other side of the economy or industry, when you position yourself in the middle, you make a lot of money. We're going to get more into that at a bit of a later point in time in the presentation as well. Now, what would happen if you and every single other person keep selling the same offer from 2022? You'll hit stagnation or worse, the death of your agency. You will always work with the bottom 3% of the market who are nearly impossible to get results for. And at the same time, you will have to combat churn by signing new clients every month to stay in business because people don't like your service and they don't see the results. And that's a huge problem. If you haven't noticed this yet, the businesses that actually retain clients, the businesses that are healthy are the ones that have long LTVs, are the ones that have amazing products that everybody wants to keep using, right? Apple or Cartier. These brands don't have to do great branding, great marketing anymore. Obviously, they continue doing it because they want to grow, but people buy Apple products every year. I buy it every year. I never see an ad from Apple. I never look at it. It's just I love the product so much that I continue buying it. And that's the problem you're facing in the business. People don't want what you sell. And that's why it's so hard to close clients. Okay. Now, what's the solution to this? Don't ever sell commoditized offers. Okay. Leverage trends to spot markets that are willing and able to pay 10K plus for your offer. Okay. Now, right now, there is a market that's making agency owners literal millionaires. Again, that's a cheesy title, I know, but it's the best opportunity in the market. And if you're able to position yourself well, you can make millions. I literally had a friend of mine, I spoke with him last time, like a couple months ago. He, in 2021, signed a deal with the government of Germany, with the health minister actually, for shipping masks and ventilators to German hospitals. And the deal size was $2.2 million a month, every month for 2 years. And his margins was 60%. He back then was 22 years old. So you're telling me that just by positioning himself in the right room and being at the right place at the right time, he was able to sign a deal for $25 million just by doing that. And that's a year. So like 50 million total, probably like 30 in profit. Okay. That's that. Now, we're going to dive into the $480 billion industry that's turning agency owners into literal millionaires. The market I'm talking about here is the info product and personal branding space. Everyone and their mom and their uncle and their son and their grandparents are trying to start an info product right now. Okay. And it's what enabled me to get paid 10K to 50K from single clients because it's impossible to do that with most local businesses when you get into it. But this model and this niche right now is what Facebook ads, agency, and local business was in 2016. You can see right here, this is from Google, by the way, the creator economy is estimated to be a $100 billion industry and set to reach $500 billion by 2027. You see, estimated to be 100 billion right now, $500 billion by 2027. That's a 5x in what? 2, 3 years? Do you know how easy it is to sign a lot of clients in a market that grows that exponentially? It's like back in the days with the gold rush, which all of the people in the online space like to talk about. In the gold rush, do you think it was hard to sell shovels? Do you think you had to have all of these closing tactics and tricks and hacks and techniques to sell the shovels? No, people would run to you and buy it as soon as possible for as much money as possible so no one else could have them because there was demand. And what you guys are trying to do is you guys are trying to sell a product when there's no demand. Obviously, you're going to have a hard time closing. Very important concept to understand. Okay. That's the market I'm talking about. Now, why is it the biggest business trend right now? Why do I actually believe that the info product industry is the most important and the best industry to position yourself in right now? And simple economics, you just put in the chat, I think it was Rahul, 100%, I completely agree. But at the same time, most people understand something, but then don't actually integrate it. So did you actually get it? Did you actually understand it? If you learned it and then nothing changes, you didn't understand anything, right? And so why is this actually the biggest business trend right now? In every single market, and by the way, for all of your guys' information, I will respond to every single question you have at the end of the live class. Note all of them down, and at the end of the live class, I will run through every single one of them, and we will do a fat Q&A with a lot of value, okay? Why is this the biggest trend in business right now? It's because in every single market, there is a person or a company with access to capital, reach, or tech who is responsible for creating trends. An example in the tech world that you probably missed when it was, booming back then was that Sam Altman created ChatGPT, and later it was literally used by every single consumer and platform, every single one of them. Okay, you can see OpenAI's valuation, 35 million in 2022, and now it's an estimate of 90 billion. I don't know how many X's that is, but it's a lot. Okay. And so that's because he created a trend. He created something that would almost live for eternity, you could say. Companies now started using AI to save billions and win market share, right? You can see this proportion of companies using AI-powered SaaS. This is just like a year, not even a year. And it climbed like double to triple. Okay. Now, believe it or not, but you are in a situation right now where the reason as to why you are in business is because you got exposed to a trend set by someone 5 years ago. And it was the same thing for me. All of you remember earlier, I was talking about this. I started watching Iman Gadzhi's videos before he became very popular. He was at 100K subs. And during the time of me getting in the course, he got to like millions. He set a huge trend in the market and flooded the market with thousands and tens of thousands of people trying to start agencies. Tai Lopez as well. This is like the OG of course setting. These people created trends, and because of these trends, you came into the market. That's how it works. Okay. And now one of the biggest trends in business just started. Probably a lot of you have seen that Iman Gadzhi became a co-owner at WOP, which is a platform through which you can sell digital products, info products, right? And because Iman has one of the largest audiences in our industry, this is going to bring us a huge shift in attention. And I can show you proof of that. This video is a video that I posted 1 month ago. It was a video that I created with no script, no framework, no nothing. I literally just sat down and talked just about this topic. And my video got a 3.6x outperformer in comparison to other videos. Why? Because of the topic, because the attention went from one side of the market to the other one. And because I knew that this was going to happen, I created a video intentionally about this topic. And it outperformed the other videos. Vincent just said, literally found you through that video. You see? That's how this works. When attention shifts from one side of the market to the other side of the market, that's when huge opportunities are set to play. Okay. And that's when you can make a lot of money in a short period of time. Now, we are in the era of selling info products. The info product market adaptation to working with brand partners in this case is right now where SMMA was back in 2016. Because believe it or not, if you started an agency in 2016, it was pretty fucking easy to sign clients. And now we are in this exact same phase and trend. Right now, we are at a point in time where the effectiveness of being a brand partner is at an all-time high. Again, why is that? The only people using it are the people that are working with me and myself. This is something that I developed myself because I was like all of you. I was like every single one of you, stuck in a situation where I didn't like the business model I was running because I wasn't making the money I wanted to make. I was working long hours and I felt like I couldn't break out. And the way I broke out is by positioning myself in the info product industry. And the best way to do that right now, especially if you don't have any info that you can sell, is to become a brand partner. Okay. The early adopters who are positioning themselves as brand partners right now will come in at the height of effectiveness. And you can ride the wave of a trend. And that's what I did back then as well. Last year, I had an offer that I was launching about AI. Guess what? It went through the roof. It was super easy to get people on board because everyone wanted to sell AI all of a sudden, right? Now, when the market adaptation actually catches up, the majority of info businesses will start using the tools you're using. The majority of info businesses will know the concept of a brand partner, of people coming into the business and partnering up with them on specific areas. Okay. Again, all questions, save them for the end of the live class, and we're going to dive into all of them. Quick recap so far. You now understand why traditional agencies never scale. It's because of commoditized offers and sophisticated markets. You also understand how trends are created, and you know where the market is headed. Drop a 1 in the chat if you got any valuable insights from this so far. Nice. That's amazing. Let's go. There we go. Okay, amazing. Now, positioning yourself in the right market at the right time isn't necessarily enough. You need to detach from your current model. So offer, pricing, service delivery, et cetera, and adopt the right model that will allow you to charge 5K to 15K per month per client. And this brings up the next topic, okay, which is the model that allowed me to sign 20K to 30K clients and scale past $1 million in ARR in 7 weeks. Now, what is the whole brand partner concept actually about? A brand partner is an expert who specializes in one thing, solving the core problem for personal brands, offer owners, and info product businesses, and you get paid according to the revenue that was generated. Now, let me break this down in simple words for you so you understand what the uniqueness of this offering and of this model is. Okay. The uniqueness is this. When you go to, for example, an info product company as a brand partner to sign them as a client, you position yourself as a business partner. That's why it's called partner, right? Makes sense. What you're telling them and what your messaging looks like is that you essentially go to them and you tell them, look, I'm going to come into your business. We can scale it to this level. Here's some proof that it worked, right? Ideally, if you have proof. What we're going to do is I'm going to come into your business as a literal business partner. But instead of a normal business partner charging 50% of the revenue or of the profits, I will take 15. And I will do that still working on the business like I'm a full business partner, fully incentivized by the growth of your company. And when you can do that, you can charge a bit of money up front as well. And you're heavily incentivized to grow that company. It's a win-win for both sides. Why is it a win-win for both sides? It's a win-win because, first of all, info products that are stuck at, say, 30K, 40K, 50K, et cetera, need help scaling. And the help they need is, guess what? Talent. It's the people. The people build the company. And so the businesses that are stuck at 20K, 30K, 40K usually have a hiring problem. So you can help them doing that through coming in as the number one, a player. And you build the business with them. That's huge value for them. And then the value for you is that the business is already doing well, meaning you can make some solid money from the get-go. You're incentivized to actually care about the business. That's very important. Now, why is it in high demand and low supply? Because you're not selling a commodity that solves minor problems non-related to revenue. Your skills and expertise as a brand partner directly impact the growth of an info business or any business in general. And it's because you're solving the core problem, for example, generating more revenue. And you're also incentivized to take a percentage of the revenue you generate for a client, something a commoditized agency owner can never do. This whole model is surrounded by the idea that you become a fractional CEO and a fractional business partner in 2, 3, 4, 5 companies, and that's it. You don't have to do acquisition anymore. You don't have to do marketing all the time. You're just running those companies. What you're essentially doing, in other words, you're building a portfolio of successful info offers. And that's the beauty of this. You're not only positioning yourself in an industry that is becoming incredibly valuable, you're at the same time positioning yourself in a way where you don't have to rely on ads and don't have to rely on your organic traffic after a certain point in time. And guess what? When you do very well for one client, you will get referrals because all the people that make money know each other. Trust me, they do, because I've seen it. Okay. That's very important. Again, all of your questions, save them for the end because that's when we're actually going to be going through them. Okay. Now, this means you have control over how many clients you want to work with. The bigger the potential revenue a client can generate, the less clients you need to hit your goal. You will no longer need 20 clients paying you 2.5K a month each. It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Traditional offers were charging 2K a month. The target goal was 50K a month in revenue. Clients needed for that was 25%, monthly churn 20%. And you would literally have to sign 5 clients every single month. Sign the client, onboard the client, go above and beyond for them. They're unhappy, they churn, next client. That was kind of the hamster wheel that all of these agency owners built for themselves. And it's not a sustainable and not a nice model to run. Because at the end of the day, every single one of you, and including myself, we are running and building our companies for one simple reason: fulfillment and enjoyment. We're optimizing for living a good life. Is working 16 hours a day in your chamber, working with clients that don't value you and don't really pay you much, actually a nice business to run? I don't fucking think so. Okay. With a brand partner offer, though, the average client revenue will be 50K. The average revenue per client will be 10K. The target revenue goal is still 50, but you only need 5 clients for it. And the churn, I'm saying less than 1%, obviously depends. But the great thing is, when you come into a business as a brand partner, and you get heavily incentivized, and then you take over parts of the business and you help them scale, guess what? You have so much responsibility in that business that they literally cannot leave you without taking a huge hit. And that's the beauty of this. Sign 3 very good clients, do very well with them. You're making multi 6 figures a month in profit. You literally don't need to do any acquisition anymore. And at the same time, you can build, guess what? Your social funnel, your organic. So that way you set up yourself for success in the future. Because I genuinely believe that in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the line from now, guess what's going to happen? Funding and investors, VCs, private equity, all of these people, guess who they are going to invest into? They're going to invest into people with brands. It's going to be a simple social media DM that gets you 10 million funding deals. And if you don't like what I'm saying there, or you don't think that way, let's talk again in 10 years, because that's the direction in which we're headed. We're at an all-time low of trust. All-time low. Why do you guys think I have to go through my story, tell you who I am, show you all of the fucking insane results that I've been able to generate before we even get to the value? It's because we're in a trust recession. No one trusts each other anymore. And so you have to be able to get that trust and generate that trust first. And then when you have it, thereafter, then and only then can you sign someone. Okay. And so it's very, very important to understand trust is at an all-time low, and you won't be able to do this without the proper trust, which is why we're running through the social funnel and why brand partnering or being a brand partner works so well. Now, the moment your average client starts paying you 5K to 10K per month is the moment you unlock true scale and freedom. That's how Alex was able to scale to 700K a month from complete zero because the average client makes him over 150K. It's not like it is so much easier for Alex to make $1 million a month than for someone that has $100 a month school community, because the $100 a month school community needs unlimited clients to get to $1 million a month. Alex needs like 5. What's easier? Because the thing is, and this is something that's very, very interesting to see, the amount of effort and trust it takes to convert a 5K client in comparison to a 20, 30, 40, 50K client isn't big. These people need roughly the same amount of trust and roughly the same sales cycles, just different solutions and different targeting and positioning. And that's what all the people are doing wrong. That's why it doesn't work out for them. Okay. Now, we're going to get into the next topic, the 3 levers in client acquisition that are responsible for hitting 1 million per year with my agency. Okay. And now we're going to dive into some sauce. Okay. This is going to be very, very, very valuable to all of you. There are only 3 levers in your agency that you should focus on: branding, marketing, and sales. Obviously, we have delivery, but most of you don't have a delivery and client result problem. Most of you have an acquisition problem. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Okay. Branding ties into a couple of different things. Branding ties into messaging. Branding ties into positioning. Branding ties into authenticity, values, morals, and who people perceive you to be. Marketing ties into how you can effectively create conversations, opt-ins, bookings, for example, through urgency and scarcity. And sales, there's a couple of different things that tie into that. Now, one thing that is incredibly important to understand here is this. I was in Belgrade last week, right? I was talking about that. I was on a trip with about 40 other entrepreneurs, and I think we just had an amazing time. Now, I had a chat when I was in Belgrade with one of my buddies, and I told him that I genuinely believe that the way to make money in this modern day and time is to make people, listen very closely, make people want to work with you more than they want the result. Because guess what? When you achieve that, you can obviously provide them the result and the work with you, but it's not going to be hard to sign them because they want to work with you, just you. And so, because there's no one else that's exactly you, there's no other option, meaning no closing, meaning no sales, they just pay. Why do people pay me in the DMs? Why do people pay in full? Why do people pay in full in the DMs? Why does that happen? Because people not only want the result, they know they want to work with me and just me, because they know they're going to get the result otherwise. And I'll tell every single one of you in here right now, and I'm always a very honest and transparent guy, there are other people like me. There's other people that can help you scale an agency, an online service-based business, a consulting offer, whatever you have. There's other people that can do that, but you're here. You're listening to what I am presenting. Why? Ask yourself that. Why are you listening to me? Well, it's because you probably don't think that I'm an asshole. It's probably because you like me, kinda, I hope, at least. Okay? And that's very important. You need to make people want to work with you more than they want the result. When you can achieve that, everything else is done. That's what happened to me when I bought Iman's course. I wanted to work with him so much, right? The result was secondary, which is crazy to say, but that's how it works. Okay. Now, messaging, couple of different things I want to dive into here. And I know, by the way, for all of you listening, this is very important. I know these things aren't fancy. I know this isn't the woo-woo magic wand that you want, but this is the only thing that works. This is what I'm doing myself. This is what made me successful. And this is what makes my clients successful. Okay. Now, branding ties into a couple of different things. The first one, messaging. Your messaging ties into a couple of different parts. The first one is understanding, exactly in detail what your ICP is. Who is your ICP? What character traits do you want them to have? What business do you want them to run? What traits do they need to have in the business? How many team members do they have? What's their revenue like? What don't you want them to say, do, believe, or think, or have? You need to get clear on that, because when you understand your ICP, let me make a quick experiment with you here. If you had to close yourself on a sales call, would you find it easy? You would probably find it very fucking easy. Why? You find it very fucking easy. Well, because you know yourself so well that you know exactly what to say and when to say it, and you close. And it's the same thing here. The better you get to know your ICP, the better the messaging. ICP. Besides that, you need to understand that the messaging consists of two major parts: where they are and where they want to be, pain and goal. Okay. Problem and solution. Those two parts. So you need to get clear on where people are before they work with you and where they want to be. When you have clarity on that, that's your messaging. I don't know if you've seen this before. The only number I talk about is scaling past 50K per month currently, because currently that's what my messaging is, right? For people that I help scale to that number. Now, I also have agency clients. There it's completely different messaging, but those deals I usually close outside of, anything content-wise. You see? So because of that, when you get clear on exactly where they are and where they want to be, the pain and the goal, the problem and the solution, and you integrate that in your marketing day to day, that's your messaging. Positioning. Key to all of you. Very key. Positioning means doing things different. That's very easily said. Let me break that down for you. So positioning means doing things completely different than what the entire market is doing. Let me just look at the camera quickly. So say every single person is going here. Okay, every single person is going into this direction. You have to go into this direction. So if everybody's charging 10K, you should charge 2K a month. If everybody's charging 2K a month, you should charge 10K. If no one is charging revenue shares, you should charge revenue shares. If no one is having guarantees, you should have one. If everybody has guarantees, guess what? You shouldn't have one. Why would you have a guarantee when every single dumbass under the sun has read $100 million offers? The problem is all of you guys are targeting the same leads. So they hear the same offer again and again and again and again and again. Why do you think I'm so good at attracting people to my offers, converting people, and doing well with it? It's because I understand positioning. I'm positioning myself where no one else is. That's one. Okay, and that takes market awareness, which we're obviously talking about a lot here, how the market is moving. And then the second one, position yourself at the intersection of trends. If you can do that, be where no one else is, and at the intersection of attention shifts, that's where true change happens and manifests. Okay. Next one, authenticity. The number one mistake that I made when I was starting out with my actual brand, with my social funnel, was that I tried to copy everyone. I came in, I looked at this one guy, I saw, oh, he's doing this. I'm going to do the same thing. That guy is speaking very overly confident. I'll do the same thing. That guy is doing vlogs. I'll do vlogs as well. Like, that's what I was doing in the beginning. I was looking at what was working and was copying that in my style, but I thought that's the way to go. Let me tell you one thing. It never, ever, ever works. Why does this not work? This doesn't work because no one needs a second name. No one needs a second Iman Ghazi. No one needs a second Tai Lopez. No one needs a second Trump. Okay, even if you try to make it as good as possible, even if you come super close to their style, guess what? They are them. You can't be better at being them than them. Okay, and so brand is uniqueness. Uniqueness is authenticity. Don't copy what other people are doing. Take inspiration, that's fine. But understand that the only way to attract people to you is to be different, not do what other people are doing. A lot of you guys have probably seen this one kid. I think his name is like Breast Scales or something. Bergen Resnick, I think is his name. He popped up on social media like half a year ago and he went viral as fuck. And then everybody started posting vlogs. Guess what? Why wouldn't, like, it doesn't work because that's like no one needs a second him. No one needs a second you. No one needs a second Antonio, a second Jacob, a second Rahul. No one needs a second like you. Okay. And so authenticity and uniqueness is key. And then understanding what your values and morals are and staying true to those. A lot of the decisions that I made in my business and also my branding so far came from the simple decision that the path I was on or the people I was with weren't necessarily congruent with my morals and values. Because I can tell you right now, there were people around me that were lying a lot about different things, about numbers, about this, about that. And I just didn't fucking like it. That's not who I am, and that's not the values and morals that I have. And so I stopped it. Okay. So understand your values and your morals. And then you need to understand who people perceive you to be. Okay. If I was to come here or on any meeting, pretty much, with like a shirt that has like holes in it where I dripped ketchup on, and I don't know, I would be laying somewhere on the beach, like you wouldn't necessarily see me the way you see me now. Makes sense. The perception needs to be curated properly. You need to be intentional about what you want people to think and believe about you. Okay. That's key, key, key. Now, marketing, how to effectively create conversations, opt-ins, bookings, etc. By the way, right after this, we're going to dive into exactly how you do it, right? How you do the branding, because now we talked about the theoretical part. Marketing, how to effectively create conversations, opt-ins, bookings, etc., etc. A lot of this ties into urgency and scarcity. That's just what it is, right? Urgency and scarcity are incredibly important, and they are usually what drives decision making. The problem is, and this is something a lot of people that come to me before they start to work with me, they're in this mindset of, if I talk to someone and they tell me, yeah, I'm going to get back to you, yeah, let's have a second call or whatever, they think they're going to sign. Hell no. You know why? Because there's no reason for them to buy now. Let me say that again. You do not give people a reason to buy now. So why would they? If you don't give them a reason to buy now, why would they buy now? It's the same thing with me. Like when I walk into a store and I buy like a Cartier pen, or I buy something else, doesn't matter. When I walk into the store and the person tells me, yeah, there's only like one left in the store, then there's like scarcity there. I'm like, I kind of think they're lying, but at the same time, I don't want to risk it. And at the same time, if you can find a way to make scarcity non-fake, it's so powerful. So, 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 so powerful, because it shows people your true capacity. Okay. Sales, there's a lot of different things we can dive into there, but we're going to do that as we go. Now, how to build a brand from the ground up. For the people that have been watching or looking at my live events for quite some time now, you might have seen this before. Okay. And I decided to put this in again because this is very, very powerful. It's called Content Hexagon. Okay. And essentially, it breaks down the 6 parts of what makes content go viral and what makes it stick in people's minds. And now listen very closely, because what I'm about to say now is the most important thing you need to understand about content. It's not about getting people's attention. It's not even keeping people's attention. It's when people see you, do they remember you or not? And that's the #1 differentiating factor between people that succeed with their social funnel and people that don't. When people watch your content, when people watch your YouTube video, when people see your LinkedIn profile, when people see your ads, when people see it, when people watch you, do they remember you? Probably not. Because if they would, you would get a lot more clients. Okay, how do they remember you? This is it. Okay, couple things. First of all, lifestyle. Simple. People want to see your lifestyle. This doesn't have to be luxury, but people want to have insights into your life. It's almost like you're a celebrity, but like super small. People want to see what's going on in your life. That's why all of these news are always talking about this guy divorced this woman. Like, I personally never gave a fuck about that at all. Like, zero. I don't get it. But a lot of people do. Okay. They want to have insights into your lifestyle. Second one, consistent appearance. What do I mean by that? You are only remembered when your appearance is consistent, meaning the way you dress, the clothes you wear, the way your hair is done, your setup, office background, the way you behave, the way you interact, the way you say things, the choice of words you have, your tonality. All of these things need to be consistent, because when you constantly change them, guess what? People won't remember you. Very important. And this is a lot of detail. A lot of people just don't pay attention to this because they don't understand it. Okay. Next one, show your numbers. People want to hear numbers. That's how it is. And if you can't prove your numbers, then they won't listen. Okay. And if you don't have proof yet, which I know some of you, there's also a lot of bigger people in here, I know, but I know some of you are in a situation where you don't necessarily have a lot of proof. That's perfectly fine. There's no need to worry about that. You can still sign clients, just going to be a bit harder. Again, first client is by far the hardest one. Story. Now we're getting into a very, very important topic as well. Storytelling. Marketing is literally storytelling. When I'm giving you examples, I'm always giving you stories. Why? Because it makes it easier to understand, it makes it easier to remember, and it makes it easier to bring across. Story. Most of you aren't intentional about the stories you tell. What do you think would happen if you were to take your phone right now and write down 3 key stories about clients, about things that happened in your life or whatever that you could use on your sales calls? The only things that you are fundamentally allowed to do on your sales calls is 3 things. You're allowed to ask questions, restate what they said, and tell stories. Stories are the most powerful thing on this planet, and they move people. Stories move populations. Look at North Korea. Look at the way they do propaganda. It's all in stories. The stories of why their country is so great, the stories of how their country came up against the US. Stories. What did, and I don't want to like mention all these names because we don't want to get too deep here. What did Hitler do? Same thing. He told stories. He didn't tell people believe this because people don't care. They don't care about what you say. But stories, that's what they remember. Okay. Uniqueness. Uniqueness is incredibly important, but at the same time, it's one of the hardest things to get right. Uniqueness is something that you can't force. It's something that you have to develop and that you ideally have to have help on. Someone helping you and guiding you on how to actually find that uniqueness. But get clear on your USP. Ask yourself, why would someone work with you rather than Bob around the corner that also runs an agency, also does marketing? Why would someone work with you? Why? Tell me. Okay. Associations. Next one. Associations with brands, people, things. When I show something from Cartier, you will associate me with maybe luxury, maybe high quality, right? No, it's obviously just a materialistic item, but you associate people with the people they surround themselves and the things you see them do, wear, and have around them. If you see someone with a certain car, you associate them with that car. If you see someone saying they make a certain amount of money, you associate them with that amount of money. Okay, associations. Be intentional about all of these things. And this is like the number one red line, you could say, that's going throughout this entire life class is you need to make sure that you are intentional about everything you do in your business. Because when you do something with intention and true intention and you make it powerful enough, it can change your entire business around. Easy. Now, breaking down the actual social funnel that it takes to acquire high ticket brand partner clients. Now, I won't get into too much detail here, but as I promised you guys, I want to give you all the value and all the insights that I'm using myself internally. And so I will break down to you exactly how I structured my social funnel, why I did that, and how you can do the exact same thing in as much detail as possible. And obviously, if you have any questions about any of this, note them down. At the end of the actual live class in the Q&A, we will go through that. And again, I have something very, 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 very exciting at the end that I'm super announced to share. Super excited to announce. That's it. So this is how I signed high-level clients who can pay 10K to 50K. You can see 3 of my profiles here. You can see my YouTube, you can see my IG, and you can see my LinkedIn profile. Okay. Now let's dive into YouTube first. YouTube is a very, very unique platform because it's one of the hardest platforms to grow on, but at the same time, one of the most powerful ones by far. Now, there are a lot of different strategies that you can use to grow on YouTube. Now, why am I even talking about growing on YouTube? Because every single one of you has the dream of your perfect, ideal clients, the exact people who you want to work with coming to you and attracting them, and they reach out to you and they close, no objections. That's what happens to me. Why? Because of the way I structured my social funnel. And now we're getting into the technical details, but this is exactly why you have to pay attention because this is the most powerful part of this. Okay. YouTube. There are a couple of different formats that you can leverage on YouTube to be able to grow this effectively. The first one, and this is the most important one, is VSLs and value-based videos. Now, I'm not talking about just spread value about a certain topic, make a 15-minute video, and then that's kind of it. What I'm talking about is you need to provide in-depth, actionable, strategic value content pieces. Okay. Why is that? A lot of people think YouTube optimizes for watch time. So, how long people actually watch your video. But what YouTube actually optimizes for is, guess what? Session watch time. Session watch time means how long does someone stay on the platform YouTube after they clicked on your video? And in accordance to that, YouTube sends you more people. And so you need to optimize for session watch time. How do you do that? Well, guess what? If you put a Calendly link in your YouTube video, first link in every description, people will go off the platform. So YouTube counts it as a bad thing. They don't send you more traffic. But if you keep people on the platform, hence tell them, watch this video next at multiple points in the video, and then relinking to it, first link in the description and at the end screen of the video, they stay on the platform. YouTube brings you more traffic. And guess what video you sent them to? You sent them to the most valuable in-depth walkthrough. That way they see how much they need you. Now, this brings me to my next point. There's two types of video that bring you clients from YouTube. Two types. First one, what I just talked about, VSL. Example of this, you see the video to the right, full brand partnering course, 2025 strategies. That's one. 2 hour long, in-depth. Okay, that's one. Second one, guess what? Client results. Case study interviews. That's what is highly converting because people see that you have solved the problem they have for someone else. When you drop that, that's highly converting as well. And these are the only two videos in which you're allowed to put in your type form or maybe also whatever, put in your Calendly link, whatever you prefer, however your funnel is structured. Okay. We also have LinkedIn. LinkedIn acts as a landing page. On LinkedIn, you have to leverage lead magnets. Okay. Lead magnets meaning create 2 lead magnets to 3 lead magnets for LinkedIn. You can rotate them every couple of weeks. Every single person that follows you on LinkedIn sees a different one every couple of weeks, which means the chances of them opting in is incredibly high. And then in addition to that, you need to structure it as a landing page. They need to clearly understand who you are, what you do, why you're better than your competition, et cetera, why they should even listen to anything you have to say in the first place. Now, the amazing thing about LinkedIn is this. Let me run you through some numbers because I know all of you love to run through numbers and understand exactly how much money this can make someone. Okay, simple. LinkedIn. Okay, listen very closely. If you get about 10,000 views on your posts on LinkedIn per week, you will have a 4% conversion rate roughly to your profile if it's optimized correctly. Meaning you get 400 people to view your profile per week. 1% of them will opt in for your lead magnet, meaning 4 people. That's 4 opt-ins a week. If you structure the actual funnel correctly and the correct way, you will close at least 28%, meaning 1 person per week, 4.3 clients per month. Now, say you charge 10K, you make 40K to 50K a month from inbound LinkedIn. With 40K views, that's not hard to get. It's actually quite fucking easy. Now, Instagram, lots of strategies we can dive into there as well. But what I would recommend is that any questions you have about the actual Instagram process and anything that I'm doing on there, just let me know in the Q&A and we'll run through that because when I can answer your guys' questions in a tailored and specific and personalized way, that's going to help you the most. Now, this is my handsome man, Mr. Andre. We want to talk about client acquisition and sales as a brand partner. And Andre signed, as I talked about before, a 10K PIF deal plus a 2K per month retainer plus $250 per appointment within just 4 weeks. Now, I want to bring Andre on quickly for him to talk about that deal and how he actually acquired that to spit out some value to you guys in an actual example of how he did it. So, Andre, I'm going to make you post quickly if I can find how I can even do that. Give me 1 second. I think I have to go right here. Andre. There we go. Allowed to talk. Awesome. You should now be able to actually talk Mr. Dre.
Sick. What's up? Can you hear me? Good.
Yes, we're all good, bro. It's amazing to have you here. How are you?
I'm great, bro. I'm very honored to be here and to be able to speak here. So thank you for all the value you're giving everyone, bro. I hope everyone's like writing everything down or taking screenshots or something because it's unreal what Elias is sharing with us.
Of
Yeah.
course, bro. I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, we're still going to dive into a lot. But, bro, I really want to make this very value based, right? What would you say were your biggest takeaways? You signed that deal. What would you say were your biggest takeaways from signing that deal and actually starting to make money in this business and switching the business model properly?
Um, Probably perspective, bro. I look at things a whole lot differently, right? So like when I first came across Elias was like last year on another webinar that he was doing, and he was just dropping gems. And like I followed his Insta, subscribed to his YouTube, and got in touch with him and everything. And then like I was just in a bad position and everything, and I couldn't figure things out. But yeah, I wound up getting in contact with him again and signed up for his course through God's grace. And I think just because I've jumped from community to community like for a year, bro, like just trying to find my edge and everything, just trying to find the right answers. Honestly, everyone just gives you like basic saturated answers and how to accomplish things, and it just doesn't really make sense. And then joining your course, bro, and like learning, like being under your wing, you answered those questions, like that, probably that one question actually, how to position myself um immediately. And I literally got myself a pad and a pen. I hate writing things down, but hell, I got it and took everything that you taught to heart and just applied it. And yeah, and I think it was like April 15th or so that I got onboarded with you. And then last Friday, 16th of May is yeah, got my first client. No case studies, no testimonials, nothing. Just it's the positioning, bro. Like blows my mind and how you look at things and how you're able to uh like communicate that value to someone like me, bro. So it's much like I can't give you enough thanks, bro. Like it's mind blowing to me.
I really appreciate that. And someone is saying if you got a camera, I don't know if you can turn it on. I'm not quite sure.
No, no, I have got a camera, but no, it's we're good with just listening to me. I look like that on the picture.
All right, bro, that's fine as well. That's fine as well. But yeah, I really, really appreciate you for coming on. Um, what would you say was your number one takeaway? Like the number one thing that helped you the most? Like not necessarily working with me, just generally speaking, if someone wants to sign a deal like yourself as well, what would you advise them to do?
Um, do exactly what you've said a few times throughout this webinar, bro. When the market is moving this way, go the opposite way with your pricing, your how you because a lot of businesses, right? They've heard it all. Every offer, every pitch under the sun, they've heard it all already. And the Elias is teaching it in depth, right? So yeah, the masterclass is full of information. Exactly, like that's my takeaway. Like the positioning, right? You, I don't know how else to say it, bro. You put it into words where it just means like it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people say, "Oh, do this, do that," and it's like, yeah, but how? But you actually teach how, and hell, like I'm proof that it works. It things like that doesn't really happen to me, so I'm it's just on and up from here. So if you guys have been struggling or trying to figure things out, like I highly recommend it's Elias is the secret sauce, guys. I'm being straightforward with you.
I really, really appreciate that, bro. A lot. I really appreciate that a lot. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna continue to do a lot of amazing things from here as well. Look into the next months with you. We might also bring Jacob, dependent on how much time we still have. But he also signed a deal today. I don't know why, but it's just super fulfilling because the thing is, I have clients that are making, they come in at 15, 20K and then they scale to 40, 50, etc. plus. But the problem is that it's nice. I'm very happy for them, but it doesn't change their life. It doesn't like do much. They now can buy more luxury, maybe fly first class more. I don't know. But someone going from no business to that is just like the most fulfilling feeling ever. So I really appreciate you, bro. And I also have to say kudos to you because you did that, right? You were the one who took the risk. You were the one who actually went ahead and did it. So I'm very proud of you for it.
Yeah, but like that's my point, bro. I started my like this journey like February last year with as all of us have pretty much through Iman's course and everything. And there's just so much like you're able to kind of identify quite quickly that all these gurus and coaches, they're kind of just teaching the same shit. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry, bro. The same stuff, right?
I'm
And
also
like,
saying fuck in this live class,
okay,
but it's so good.
no, sick. Sorry, bro. I thought I just like ruined your PG rating or something. My fault, my fault.
No, no, you're
But
good, you're good.
yeah, it's like you gotta understand. Like, I'm really good with like understanding things. So when I say that all these other gurus and stuff didn't make sense, that they're like, yeah, do this, do that, do this, do that, it still didn't make sense to me. And I'm a guy that's like, I'm a hands-on guy. You know what I mean? Like, if that's what they say, do like do it. I'll do it. But it just none of it made sense to me. I got no like stayed at zero this entire time. And then for my first client to be 10K upfront with a 2K monthly retainer and 250 with my like per booked appointment, and I run AI, so that's all on autopilot. But for that to be my first offer, bro, that's because of what you've taught me. Like you opened my eyes to that and how to do things like the right way, like position everything. And as you know, bro, like when I said 10K to my client, the bro didn't even flinch. And like I was like, damn, I should have said 20, bro. I should have said like anything else. Like, but I said 10K because like that's where I was at, right? Like in my mind, I was like, yeah, I want to make 10K a month, whatever. But then it's like, okay, there's this confidence that you've given me because you've given me like it's not even a literal script that you give me, bro. You gave me the proper guidance and like structure of everything. So then I didn't, guys, you got to understand, I don't have any past clients, nothing. Like I saw a lot of questions. Oh, how do you do it without case studies? I'm not kidding. Elias teaches us how, guys. It's you just got to listen to him and everything. Where am I from? I'm from New Zealand, bro, but I'm in Brisbane, Australia. It's 3:38 a.m. here, guys. By the way, but for Elias,
Bro,
I'll do it. I'll attend.
I appreciate that so much. Also, for every single one of you listening right now, we're gonna drop the actual interview with Mr. Andre tomorrow on my main YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and listen to that as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
guys, it's awesome.
it's all good, brother. It's all good. I really appreciate you for coming on, bro. We're obviously gonna have a chat very soon again. We have our actual group call tomorrow, so we're gonna
Mhm.
talk there. And
Yeah, bro.
I appreciate you, bro. If you want to go to sleep, I'll send you the recording afterwards, either way. So
Gun.
go ahead and
Guys,
get
guys, just one last thing. I'm dead serious. Elias is the secret sauce, and I've known it since before working with him. You guys got to understand. So, okay, I've said my 2 cents. I'll leave it to it. Thank you guys for having me.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. I appreciate you for coming on, bro. Really appreciate it. And also really appreciate the kind words.
Nah, definitely, bro. When it's easy to say for what you've done for me in my life, bro. So that those words are minimum, bro. That's the
Thank
least
you
I
so
can do.
much. Thank you so much, bro. But yeah, I don't know what to say. All right, G. Cool. I'll
Easy.
speak to you very soon, okay?
Yeah, we'll do. Have a good one. Cheers, guys.
You too, bro. Bye bye. Okay, that was Mr. Andre. It's actually quite nice to talk to someone whilst I'm doing the live classes because I'm always it's not I'm talking to myself. Like there's a lot of people listening, but obviously there's no interaction there. But that's all good. I wanted to give you guys a couple of pointers to actually make more effective as well. Okay, so I promised all of you guys that we're gonna go into in-depth things, into actual detailed stuff. And this is a couple of the things that have worked very, very well for me that will work very well for you as well. Okay. The first one is a tactic that I've used a couple of times and it works very, very well, where you go and post organic content and then you do tag. What that means, and this is the smart thing, you post a content organically. So, for example, you post reels on Instagram. You see what works well. You see what actually goes viral and what gets traction. And then when something actually gets a lot of traction, you know what you do? You record an extra call to action, put it at the end of the video, and then launch it in the ads. Why? The platform already told you they would even boost it for free. So why wouldn't you run ads towards it with a call to action at the end? That's the easiest way to get a huge ROI, pretty much guaranteed. And this is like actual in-depth insights that we're sharing here. This is actual stuff that works super well. Okay. Next one, very important. Always keep in mind 80% of your actual ad is the hook. Okay. The hook is the most important thing. Test the hook 50 times. I don't care. The body is not nearly as important as the hook. The hook is 80%. Now, you know what the amazing thing is? A lot of humans, how most people take in the way where they're like, if it's not super, like if I don't have to put in a lot of effort, it's not worth it. It's not going to bring me the ROI. That's the amazing thing about business, guys. You can put in little and get maximum returns. The hook is 3 seconds and it's 80% of what makes up the success. So why not capitalize on the 3 seconds? Okay. Have infinite ads, run a lot of ads, no matter the ad spend, just give the platform more to play with. Okay. Fundamentals of marketing, keep that in mind. More good stuff, less bad stuff, more bad stuff, less good stuff. Play out tomorrow. What the fuck do I mean by that? Very simple. More good stuff, less bad stuff means that you make people think about what's going to happen when they purchase in the good and in the bad. So, what's going to happen when they purchase? Well, they will have more good stuff and they will have less bad stuff. They will have more leads and less sales headaches. More bad stuff, less good stuff is getting them to think about what's going to happen if they don't purchase. Okay. So, for example, less quality of leads and at the same time, I don't know, more headaches in the sales because sales cycles are longer. You will always want to play out tomorrow. You want to make people think about what's going to happen after they make the decision. Because guess what, guys, I have spent multiple 5 figures on coachings and people helping me to scale my business. I've spent a lot of money on that. Now, this is very important. I've spent a lot of money on that, but at the same time, it was always kind of a hurdle. I had to get over myself to pay the money because to me, at that point in time, it was a solid amount of money. Guess what? I didn't think about what's going to happen after. I thought about the pain of spending the money, not the ROI that I would get. And so you need to get people to think about what they will get from it, not what they will spend. Think about value, not price. Okay. For your copy, for you to be able to actually compel people to keep listening, keep reading, keep them engaged. Make sure that in your copy, you think in moments, describe experiences. How does it feel in the moment? What happens? That's how you should write your copy. Okay. Talk more about the prospects, interpersonal relationships. Don't talk about what's going to happen to John if he doesn't sign. Talk about, John, what's going to happen if you don't sign and you don't build the business you want to build. How will you and your wife be able to go to Hawaii for the summer? Like, talk about the relationships they have and how the relationships they have will be affected when they don't close. Okay. Call to action, clearly state A, what they have to do, and then B, what will happen next. Most people don't do that. Most people don't talk about what will happen next. But you know what happens when you do that? What happens is you build up a psychological effect in which you say something is going to happen, they do it and it's happening, they trust you more on the next thing. The likelihood of them believing what you say is going to happen increases when they get positive feedback. Okay, that's very important. Lead magnets, very important because we talked about lead magnets on the actual LinkedIn. Lead magnets need to solve micro problems completely and then blow them away with value. Okay, this only works well if you have a well-defined ICP, obviously, and then provide more value. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you don't sign clients off just cold outreach. You sign clients if you have educated them well. Why not provide that value up front in a one-to-many approach through content, through building a social funnel and making your money that way? Simple, right? A quick recap on what we've covered so far. We covered the current trend in the market that's creating millionaires. We covered what brand partnering is and why it's the best model to generate demand from high-level clients. And we have also covered the 3 levers to sign 5K to 15K clients as a brand partner. Now, we're going to dive into the last topic. Okay. And guys, I know that we're already 1 hour 45 in, but actually it doesn't feel like it was long to me, to be honest. We still have a couple of things to go through that will absolutely change everything around for you. So make sure to stick around for that. How do you make sure you get paid 5K to 10K from your first brand partner clients? How can you actually charge that? I'm going to break down this process, and the fastest path to getting paid 5K to 15K from your first brand partner client right now, while only working 4 to 8 hours per week per client. Now, how does that work? A couple of things. In order to sign your first brand partner client and get paid that, there are multiple steps you need to take. The first thing is you need to optimize your offer. Okay. You need to optimize your offer in a way where it requires the least amount of inputs from the client, but you still have to be able to solve their biggest problems. Okay. Acquiring more clients, increasing profits in a much shorter period of time. Examples for that is, for example, you would execute a cohort launch in 14 days on a 100% done for you basis. You launch a high ticket offer for a coach or a creator, leveraging their existing leads in their sales pipeline, right? The second thing you have to do is you have to have a revenue share deal structure where you get paid directly based on the revenue that you generate in a launch cycle. Very important. And then the third one is you have to reach out to highly qualified prospects with the potential to collect 50K to 100K off a launch and send a personalized video on the strategy you would implement for them. This is very important. The certain strategy that we leverage for that internally is called the perfect cold video pitch. And it works very well because it only aims at the best of the best clients. Okay. And that's how Andre signed his deal. Andre signed his deal with a perfect cold video pitch. And Jacob, who's here today as well, who signed that 6K PIF just 2.5 hours ago, I think you also sent a perfect cold video pitch, right? Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, but I think that's what it was.
That was it for the actual live class recording. I hope you found a tremendous amount of value in this live class and you could actually take notes, listen closely and implement it as well. If you did find a lot of value, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you have any questions, put those down in the comments right now. If you do want to apply to work with me one-on-one, first link in the description and you'll be able to talk to me directly one-on-one, no closer, no triage, no nothing like that. It's going to be a direct one-on-one call and we're going to be talking about potentially working together and what that would look like and if it makes sense. If it makes sense, it makes sense. If not, then that's perfectly fine as well. You get a free call with me one-on-one. That's it for the video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for tuning in and watching through it. I hope it was very valuable and I'll speak to you soon. If you want to apply, click the first link in the description right now and I'll speak to you soon.